Hello, everyone. My name is David Brackett, and I am the chair of the Languages of Limited Diffusion work group here with the NCIHC. And this morning, we are going to be sharing another LLD Conversations, interviewing a very inspiring and innovative individual in our community. And his name is Darwaish Zakhil. He is the co-founder and director of community advancement for the Afghan Support Network. He's also an interpreter himself. He's been an interpreter and former cultural advisor to the United States Army in Afghanistan. And so we're going to get to learn a little bit about his experience and what he has seen, and hear some of his insights that I think all of you are going to find very, very intriguing. So, Darwaish, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good morning, David. Thank you for having me.
And you're joining us today from, are you in Portland right now?
Yes, I'm in Portland, Oregon.
Okay, excellent. And tell us, how many languages do you speak?
Well, I speak 5 languages.
Five languages.
Yeah, one is native language Pashto. I speak Dari, and I speak Urdu, which is from Pakistan, and English, and a little bit of Arabic as well.
Okay, wow, that's incredible. And so tell us a little bit about your experience working as an interpreter for the United States Army. What was that like, and how did you get started in that?
As you know, when the United States Army and other coalition forces were in Afghanistan, many Afghans that they wanted to support the mission, for democracy of the Afghanistan and for a bright future for Afghan people. So I was one of them, and I joined the U.S. Army to be an interpreter. It was I went through an exam, and then after certain tests and stuff, so I passed it. My initial post was I was in one of the province of Afghanistan called Helmand province. So I interpreted there, where I was with in a base where was the mini Marines and Army together. So I was mainly working with the U.S. Army, and then going on missions, and kind of interacting with the locals there. At the same time, I was also I was language instructor. So I was once a week I had a class for officers and other soldiers. So kind of teaching them the basic phrases in face of Pashto, kind of when they're going out to interact with locals, so they know the basic, like hi, hello, how are you, stop, or where are you going, and stuff like that. So it was amazing. There's a lot of stories in that job period that I had. But it was good. It was really good experience, especially for me, someone, with that experience, interacting not with just, U.S. Army and Americans. I was interacting with the other international partners as well. So it really, enhanced my knowledge in terms of culture, diverse culture that I've been with. So it was an amazing journey that I've been through.
Yeah, and now here in the United States, when you're working with different communities, and especially in the nonprofit that you created, which we're gonna talk about here in a moment, what do you see that is missing right now in the healthcare interpretation space that could be improved?
Well, thank you, Dave, for asking that question. I think I would say, as an Afghan perspective, as someone that daily engaging with Afghans and hearing them out. So in a healthcare, there are, especially if you're talking about Pashto and Dari, there's a lack of interpretation. In many cases, when our clients go to the doctor office, either the interpreter cancel for whatever reason, or there's lack of interpretation. So I think improving that area, training more in Pashto and Dari interpreters, that's a very important part of the whole process, because we believe that language is something that everyone should have access to the interpretation. Especially we're living in the United States of America with this diverse culture. There's hundreds of language around us. So one thing that I see in the state of Oregon, and particularly with the healthcare, there's a lack of interpretation for Pashto and Dari. Another thing could be done, I think, a lot of Pashto Dari speakers, when they're kind of they're hesitant to join to be interpreter. I think they're also, the pay probably is not that as good as they expect. So they join and then they do, part-time or full-time, and then they quit. So that creates, a big problem for the community. I think, I don't know if that's the case in all over the United States, but particularly for here in Oregon, we have that problem.
Yeah, no, it's an important one, and I think also for interpreters that might speak languages of limited diffusion, like let's say Pashto or Dari, is understanding the many different opportunities that are out there, right? From remote interpretation to document translation, video interpretation, as well as, of course, on-site interpretation. There's many different modalities in which an interpreter could pursue a career.
Absolutely. No, that's this one thing that, within Afghan Support Network, we had a training. We trained with other partners together, 25 interpreters, 25 Afghan interpreters, to kind of encourage them, including, men and women, to kind of go to that space. And because this is not one way you're doing something for yourself by getting the job. In the other side, you helping the community. And helping the community and helping the healthcare system. So I think this is one thing I would encourage, highly encourage all Afghans across the United States to pursue this career. It is great that how much what you feel when you help someone through the language. And as an interpreter, I feel that there's been big problems within my job when I was in Afghanistan. There was a lot of confusions. But when interpreters get there and they solve the problems very easily, there was, I can tell you a quick story. There was almost conflict between the ANA, which in Afghanistan National Army, and the U.S. Army on the road, where they were not understanding each other. So everyone was like pulling gun on each other. They didn't know what's going on. There was a patient in one of the civilian cars. They wanted to get through because the road was blocked, but they were not understanding what's happening. So they called me on the comm, and I said, "What's happening?" And then we understood that there was a patient, someone need to go to the hospital. So we blocked the way out that time. So they because there was a car was broke down. So that little conflict, that interpretation for 2 minutes, it saw everyone understood. So it play a key role overall.
Yeah, no, it really does. And tell us about the Afghan Support Network that you started with some other founders. Tell us what drove you to start it, and what exactly is your mission there?
The Afghan Support Network was started after the collapse of the Republic of Afghanistan. When we see there was thousands of Afghans coming into the United States, and particularly to our state, we saw the need that there was some gaps that need to be filled with culturally specific services and resources. So me and my other friends, Ajmal, Zubair, Kohistani, and Yahya, we came together. We were sitting just right in this room where I am right now, and we said we were going to do something about this. Of course, we cannot change the big picture, what was going on in Afghanistan. I'm sure we all see that horrific pictures on the television, what happens on the airport, on Kabul airport. That was that gives us that encouragement, and we said we should do something. So we came up with we structure Afghan Support Network. The way it was structured was mainly focused on serving Afghans. Our mission is a future in which our vision is a future in which all Afghans prospers and contribute to the well-being and success of their community. We're trying to achieve this by empowering Afghans to support service, advocacy, and resources. Afghan Support Network is the first culturally specific nonprofit organization that target the needs of Afghans in Portland metro area and across Oregon. We have served 500 plus families since September 2021. Oh. We have 501c3. And it's still not. We recently opened a community center, which is 6,000 square feet, which is one of the historic things in the state of Oregon for Afghans that is a place that community can come together, and we can also use that space for many other purposes, culture specific events, ESL classes. Well, one of them would be interpretation training classes. We could do that too. Computer literacy classes. And also there's a ASN office, which community members can come and receive direct support. So there's a lot into the other big piece that we do within Afghanistan was advocacy. So we advocated in a state level, even in the federal level. We have a really good relationship with the federal senators and the local legislators, that we advocated for 2 bills, which really directly impacting the immigrants and refugee community. Which is, one bill was for food for all Ogonian, which unfortunately it's kind of dying in Ways and Means Committee. But we're hoping, but we did a lot of work in it, and other bills which also directly helping Afghan. So there's a lot in Afghan support network that we are doing, and we're trying to, and we're planning our strategic plan for the next 5 years. There's a lot more to come. Hopefully we succeed what we do.
Very impressive what you've started there and what you've built. How can other individuals who want to learn more or potentially support or donate to the mission, how will they find you all? What's your website?
Our website is afghansupportnetwork.org. Okay. You can send us an email. It comes direct to us, or we have, we're going to put to our community center, which we call it a Home of Afghans, or Afghan Core. That's the place name. So we can put our address there. You can send us whatever way easier for you. Send us letter or mail or email, whatever way is feasible for anybody, so they can reach out to us.
Thank you for sharing that. And just last question for you, Darwaish, for today is, what message would you want to share with other individuals who are thinking about getting started as an interpreter, or maybe they're very new in their career? Someone like yourself who has so much experience and has gone to an extremely high level in the interpretation profession, what message would you want to share with them today?
I would say, interpretation is a blessing career if you want to pursue it. It is good when you help someone through the language, when you help someone, that they're confused and they're in a situation that they don't know what to say. I think, I picked up one person from the airport, when they were arriving from Afghanistan, so from one of the camp, and I was the first one to speak with him in the language. I cannot imagine how much happy he was when he hugged me. He said he's been for almost 2 days, he was getting here, all the plans. There was no single Afghan that spoke with him, in order to let him know. So I think this is, I would say, any interpreters, this is a great career, they should pursue it, because you're helping someone through your culture, through your language, which the other part is, I think, there's a need for interpretation. And also they can make good money out of it. If just to be very, transparent about it, interpretation is a career that I see a lot of interpreters that they do it full time. So it's not something usually people think as this misconception. This is something like a side gig or side job you can do. You can really pursue a career in the interpretation, an amazing one. And think about it, if you speak one language and then try to learn another one, and how much knowledge that you get through the language, the culture of that country, the language, the people, the interaction. I cannot tell you, David, it's amazing when I go somewhere, for example, I speak with, Indian people, I talk to them in their language. It's great. It's amazing that how much joy you get instead of talking. So I think it's I'm sure you probably speak a few other languages too, but it's like if you speak Spanish, a lot more. So I think it's a great career, and every single person that they wanted to entrust them, I think they should pursue this career.
Very well said, Darwaish. Thank you so much for joining us here this morning on LLD Conversations through the NCIHC, and feel free to check out more episodes just like this one on our website, where you can see other similar conversations. So thank you again, Darwaish, and we hope you have an excellent day.
Thank you, David. I appreciate it. Have a good day as well.